Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. Hope you guys are doing well today. Topic of today is how people have changed and the way that people are today. A lot of abdominal pain, man, so pardon me on this. I wanted to get this video out. At the end of last night, usually, I tend to watch some stuff at the end of the night, some Christian content, and I do it also at other times of the day, but I was watching a channel, What Do You Meme? You guys are probably aware of that if you're looking at the Christian world and stuff like that, and excuse me, I don't tend to try to watch things that are Christians who do a lot of Hollywood-based stuff. But this time he's got a good channel. So look at the video last night. Maybe I'll connect that in the description box, and it tells you what happened in that video is the way that people are today. And I'm going to give a couple of examples from my own life. One that happened to me recently and one that happened to me a while ago. So the what do you mean one? Now this is brutal. This is just the way. Remember what Paul says. He says in the last days people will be lovers of themselves, they'll be boaster, proud. I'll just fit in my own: angry, narcissistic, ungrateful, unholy. It's just a whole lot of it. And of course, I'm dealing with tremendous colic. Sorry guys. This is just stealing my thoughts. I'm done, by the way, a quarter of my year. I just finished my first module, and man, was there ever a lot of work. Like, just a ton of reading and a ton of work. So working up, right? So this one was strange on What Do You Meme? It was, this was about pro wrestling. I don't know if it was a gig or something like that, but you know how, pro wrestling is fake and all that type of stuff. I still am interested in the mixed martial arts world. I don't follow it nearly as much, if at all. But I still, it's good to learn martial arts. And I remember there was a guy named Rampage Jackson, and I remember that guy he wasn't a nice guy. He may be today, but anyways, he had a son. He was an MMA champion, and he had a son. And his son's name is Raja or something like that. And he also is, I guess, these guys train, they're deadly weapons. When you train mixed martial arts and you get to a certain level, they'll charge you. If you go out and you know mixed martial arts and you get to a certain degree and you use that against someone, absolutely, pardon me for a second, they'll charge you in a court of law for, I don't even know the terminology, but so this Raja Jackson, you can only imagine, he's a pretty big guy, not huge, but he's pretty big, and obviously his dad probably trained him, right? And so I don't know if he was going to a paid gig or something. You'll have to watch a video yourself, but this just gives you an indication of what the internet can do to somebody. So he's going to this gig and they're outside. And I can understand this part, that there's a lot of acting in pro wrestling, and so they were coming to meet each other. This Raj was going to meet, what was his name, Stuart? I think his name was Stuart. And when they met, Raj had some of his camera crew with him, and they were filming. So the other guy, Stuart, he believed that this was part of the whole acting, right? Because that's what pro wrestling is. If you're going to put your camera on me, I'm believing that, we have to act. So this Stewart guy, the pro wrestler, probably not MMA, he takes a beer can and I think he crinkles, I forget, I kind of missed a little bit of that, but I believe he took a beer can, an empty beer can, and squashed it on his head, and that really made this Raja angry. And it was that he wasn't playing at that time, and so the guy's like, well, you have your camera here and everything, tensions rose, but anyways, they both held their position, and then he said sorry to him later, and they shook hands, so you thought it was okay. But this Raja, the MMA guy, Quentin Rampage Jackson's son, he was really angry inside, and he was to attend a pro wrestling match, so he's sitting in the front seat, and he was supposed to be part of it. He was supposed to jump in the ring and do something, be part of it. And he's sitting there and he's being filmed. And he's getting more angry and more angry and more angry about what happened. And the Stewart guy thought it was over and he didn't understand. And so the Stewart guy, he's in the ring wrestling another guy. And this Raj guy is looking down at his phone, and his following, right? His following, for whatever that is, they're egging him on to go and do something about it. And you can literally see in real time this Raj guy getting more angry and more angry. He jumps in the ring, and the Stewart guy thinks it's, part of it. And just like they do in wrestling fashion, take the hand, go under, the crotch area, and he lifts him up. You got to be pretty strong to lift this guy, you got to see, and he slams him in a way that, was illegal, because you can knock someone out, and the guy was knocked out. And while the guy was knocked out, he got on top of him, and he punched him 20 times in the face. So now, and then it shows a video of him after, and he's walking down the street, and he's just yelling at the top of his lungs. Why does everyone try to fool with me? Whatever he said. And this other guy is just laying motionless. Now this guy, he's going to face lifelong circumstances, lost his teeth, just a lot of stuff like that. And I believe they're now attempted murder. You would think that this is just a one-off thing. I woke up today. What was it? Minneapolis Catholic school. It's very odd for a Catholic school, but 2 shot dead, 17 others injured. This is just the place that we are in today. Yes, I just shaved my head. I don't even let it get a little bit long anymore. So, people don't know how to control themselves today. And that is a great example of what the internet has done and can do to you. I remember the Arab Spring. It was 2013, 2014. And that was just when Facebook was really coming up on the scene. And all those overthrows of those governments, like Gaddafi, were because of Facebook. And they blamed Facebook. Pardon me. I'm going to give you a couple examples. I'm not doing this because, and I say to you, as a born-again believer, as a believer of God, you may go through things, you may be poked at, you may be whatever. People may try to mess with you, but don't look back on the way that you used to respond to people, and don't have a bitter heart. Right? Don't have a bitter heart. I gotta get out of this shot, man. So, sorry, some eat an orange here. Man, I drink a lot of water, I eat good foods, still get kidney stones. They're very hard to deal with. You know, I'm usually in some type of stage, whatever. I was just in the shower and there's this sharp, you can just feel it moving through the ureters. Try standing making a video. I'm going to give you 2 instances from my own life. I don't like talking about my own life and other people, but which one would I talk about first? So I'm training to be a personal support worker. Well, what I mean is study. So I've studied, you know, I know the theory. I'm very close to doing the practicum where I go and I work for, you know, a few hundred hours. But I've been out in the community. I see what they do. I understand. I've watched many a video. And, you know, so I put out my stuff, you know, that I want to get my first job. It's an unregulated profession. You get your certificate, and that makes it a lot better. People trust you a lot more. And, you know, a certificate for like a hospital or a residence, you know, you not all places want that, but places like Canada are very professional and they do. But some don't. But it's still an unregulated profession. So you can go out and help anyone in the community. And so, you know, I'm searching to do that. You know, I feel ready. And so I get this person who, whatever, they're up there in their age. It's a woman. And I'm not even sure if this was someone just trying to mess with me or not. I don't know yet. But it was, you know, quite legitimate. You know, this person was, you know, like 9 years old. I talked to them on the phone. Someone recommended that I go and speak to this person. And so I did. I called this person. We're like, okay, we're going to do this and that. You know, I have to get you to call the Blue Cross and do a registry and all that. Man, I spent a couple hours going through registering, and you know, it's just a long wait. It's just like overloaded. It could take, I don't know, it could take weeks to get an answer just for that. And so I emailed this person back. We had some back and forth, both email and by phone. And so I emailed and I said, okay, I've done the registry type thing, and they misunderstood me. I said, you know, it could take, or sorry, that's just something else I'm not even going to speak about, but I said it could take a while for that for it to be registered, and they may refuse me. You know, I have a lot of different certifications, but, you know, are they willing to do that? You know, we really need people in the community, right? But so she writes back to me. She says, you know, that's a shame. She's like, how about I just hire you anyways, you know? And I have a whole bunch of different jobs you can do. I'm fully capable of doing these jobs. And so, you know, that's that. And I speak to her on the phone. It's a done deal. So we're speaking on the phone. And she's, you know, I have to know what this person, you know, what's wrong with them. And the professional thing to do when you're in a private, you know, when you're in a private situation, not with a company, is you have to develop a plan. What is it I'm supposed to do, right? Come up with a plan, and they have to sign it, and it's for legal purposes. And this person was kind of put off a bit, I guess, but that's what you're supposed to do. Because you'll be legally responsible if something goes wrong. And that person had been getting people from agencies. So those workers going to her home did not have to do any of that. But since I'm private, I have to do that. I have to be covered, right? And I don't know if that was it. But she started talking about her pain and the things. I had to know what her file was, right? And she was willing to speak about those things. And she was talking about pain. And I said, yeah, I suffer with some pain myself. And when she asked me what it was, I said, I'd rather tell you in person. And I believe that person became offended that I would not give them that answer on the phone. And they didn't press me for it either. So, she said, okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow at blah, blah, blah time. Okay? Hung up. Something went through my mind. I'm like, I have a feeling that person is going to say no now. There was nothing I didn't do. I treated this person with respect. About 3 minutes later, I looked down, boom, sorry, I found someone else. After, going through this, I spent probably about 4 hours of my time just trying to prepare this. Who does that? Who does that? And so I emailed back, and I called too, because that's kind of rude just to do that. Give me a call and tell me why. So, an email. Why would you all of a sudden just turn on me like that? And it was, sorry, I lost my confidence in you. I lost my confidence in you. The people who surround me are very honest people, and I want it to remain that way. That's what it was. That was the reason. She thought I was dishonest. I just wrote back once more. I said, I'm a Christian. I am very honest. But there it was, right? It's just the way people are today. They're unforgiving. Or they're not willing to see a situation. Like, I'm the type of person, like, if something goes wrong, let's figure out what it is. Instead of like what a narcissist would do to someone, where they want you to be that way, right? I'm not going to tell you what it is. I don't know if I have time for another, actually, guys, but keep pressing my time with everything. What is the other one? Oh man, I might as well just do this. It's because I have something coming up. People have changed. People have changed since COVID, and you see this. You see people saying this everywhere. It is. People have changed. They're not the same, man. They're on edge. When I sell door to door, I go to thousands of homes, and I see the change in people. Like very untrustworthy, unless they get to talking to me. But when I bought a vehicle a while back, okay, the person that's responsible, you're responsible for the things on your side, I'm responsible for the things on my side. And everything was set, done all the checks, done all this, did a whole bunch of stuff. Get the Carfax, because you need the Carfax to know all the things that have been done to a car, motorcycle, whatever it is. And it looked good, got an inspection, everything looked good, and this person was coming to bring it to me. And man, I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit, but about 1 hour before they were going to come, I've been talking to this person for 2 weeks. I forgot about the UVIP package. This is something legally you have to have when you trade used things, used cars, used motorcycles, used. I'm having a very hard time in this video. My kidney's just been crushed, man. So this person was coming to deliver it here. So with an hour, I called them and I said, oh man, I cannot purchase that without the UVIP package. And when I said that, that's all I said. That was the beginning of the phone call, right? The person didn't let me go any further. And they said, fine, you don't want to buy it? Hung up, just like that. This person came all the way to sell it to me, and then all of a sudden they're going to do that? Let's work this out. Let's figure out what these forms are. So I looked, the online version would take 10 days. And I didn't have 10 days because I was about to purchase the vehicle. And, you need that when you register it at the MTO. So I called them back because I wanted it, right? Of course. And the person said, okay, come downstairs, and, out of my building and we'll work it out. And so I looked, I researched as, like a diligent person would. And if you go to the MTO itself, which there was an hour left till it closed, then you can do it in person. So I go downstairs, the person's in my lobby with his wife, and I said, you can look this up. You need a used vehicle information package. Why didn't you tell me this? It was like all of a sudden, boom, this is all on you. When they're the one who put up the ad and trying to sell the vehicle, right? And I said, you have a phone in your hand, go to Google and look that it's a legal document that you must have when you sell used vehicles, and that's your responsibility. And he looks at me and he says, are you calling me a liar? I'm like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? I never called him a liar. I didn't say any of those things. He said, well, the Carfax and this and that. And it was so stupid. This person was so prideful that they weren't willing to check out if what I was saying was true. And I wanted that vehicle so much that I had to stay with. Man, the things that I wanted to say right there. And as a Christian, I would have said certain things. I wouldn't have gone the way that my old self would have gone. So his wife is looking at me, and I'm in a condition like I am in right now, okay, on that day. And she wasn't defending me. I know she knew that. So we had to go to the MTO. We're standing in line. Okay, we're standing in line. This person was a prick. Okay, just acting nice. Just one of those type of people. They were a prick. And so we're standing in line. We get to the front of the line, and it's pretty busy, and there's like 20 minutes to go. And it's just me and him. His wife is outside. And, sorry, it's very, very hard to think. We get to the front, where that says stand here. And as soon as a spot opens up, he says to me, I am the buyer, I will talk. I don't talk about my personal life, about other people, but certain things I will, right? Certain things I will. So I'm like, okay, the woman who was at the, at her station, she was a strict and by the book type of person. She could see what was going on. She was watching. And I already felt like she was going to be on my side. And so I held my breath, and she said, you need a UVIP information, used vehicle information package, UVIP. It's legally your responsibility. And when she said that, I felt justified right on the spot. Just the way that she said it, I almost felt it was from God. I'm not kidding you. I'm like 2 seconds away from buying this person's vehicle. And so this person was so prideful, and I'm not kidding you, at that moment the room was looking. He was saying, show me where it says in writing I must do this. It's like, man, this woman's an expert at what she does. She does this every day. And I'm like, I just want to get out of here. I just want this done. I can't believe the way that certain people are. It's just the way it is. And that is, there are so many more examples of people like this. So whatever, did the transfer, thank God I was there. I did the whole transfer of everything, went out and paid the person, and there it was, split our ways. Not only that, but this person had given me a piece of paper of a part that they were supposed to get in about a week. Just a cheap little part, but a necessary part. And he gave me the paper, and he said, when it comes in, I will call you. And he gave me an email. But that email I lost somehow. I never lose emails like that. And I called. No matter if I called or did whatever, they never got back to me to re-give it to me. That's just the way people are. People will not go out of their way. Some people are assholes, some people are pricks. That's just the way it is. I'm going to end this here, guys, because I'm really pushing my time. Don't become bitter in your heart, though, about these people. Learn your boundaries. Learn who is good and who isn't. Environmental. Yeah. Find your boundaries. Know who's good for you. Know who isn't. And don't be afraid to cut someone off who's doing something bad to you.